So currently, we're in 2022, and feminism has I guess it hasn't reached its peak yet. I guess female value hasn't reached its peak. I thought it did. I thought we'd be going through a decline. Perhaps we have, but it's just not showing yet. Because the average ego of females due to social media is inflated by like a couple steps. um Sevens think that they're nines, fours think that they're sevens. um and it's because of men, simps. Guys keep giving them free validation for doing nothing. Even well, giving them a validation for exploiting themselves, their bodies, or whatever. And that happens. That is becoming so. At this point, that is becoming so normalized. Promiscuity is becoming very normalized for females nowadays, and this is not something that it's gonna. There's it's gonna. The rubber band's going to snap back the other way. And yes, degeneracy and the left wing are in charge right now, but soon it's gonna clap back the other way. And then when the right and the conservatives get in charge, I've already seen it in my life where they want to censor or like censor speech or censor artistic expression. I'll be hating on them because I don't like being censored, whether it's by the left or the right. I don't want banks cutting me off financially and making it so I can't support myself or people I care about because of the disagreements of what I say. So I'll rebel. I'll rebel against the conservatives in the future, probably, um, because they'll end up going towards the right, like farther right. Um, Maybe that won't happen, but that's just what I think is going to happen. So with feminism at its peak, and you see that most women think that they don't need men because they're independent on their own personally, but they don't think about the community that they rely on, that men do a lot of the dirty jobs to keep the community going. um I don't see, all these women that have fought for their rights, fight for equality, even to be above men, um at this point, where they get a lot of the benefits, and they don't have to have the bad things, like, okay, women don't get drafted. um yeah, women, a lot of women are getting cushy office jobs, but they're not doing sewage jobs. If half of the population are females, then why don't we see more women into like sewage treatment facilities, or um, oil rigs, or things that are really physically demanding, things that get dirt underneath their fingernails, mechanics. And I'm not saying that there isn't women in those fields. I'm just saying it's very sparse or rare. So we're at the peak of um, feminism, or we're declining from the peak, something, or we're close to the peak, okay, and then there's going to be a decline. Whether we're in the decline or we're almost to the peak, whatever, at some point in the society, the feminism is going to decline, because feminism is a first world country luxury. You don't see it happen in these third world countries. Venezuela was doing it, And guess what happened? They went through hyperinflation, and all the females that were on the streets wanting the equality and all this and that, well, they're not doing it anymore. They want they're selling themselves in some instances, or they've shut up, because things got real. Um, there's a lot of people in the society that live in a bubble, men and women. Um, but so what I'm trying to say is we're at the peak or close to the peak, or we're descending from the peak. And where's all the great inventions, Like where's all the innovations and things, so we don't have to worry about climate change as much. We don't have to rely on oil and gas. Where is all the like spectacular inventions? Um, I mean, like where are they at? Because the only thing I really see that's noticeable, and I'm sure that there's females out there doing, you know, scientific work. Definitely, I'm not saying that's not happening, or there's not being things being invented by females. But I would think since there's so many women that are in the workforce, or they don't have to take care of common things around the house, like traditionally what women would take care of. For instance, raising their kids. Um, like why are we not progressing quicker? Why does it seem like we're kind of um, going backwards and decaying? And I think that technology is going to save us. And I like technology. I like the prospects of technology, but like why are we not seeing huge leaps and bounds in things, where things, instead of like those people, I think there's a girl I remember seeing, the purple hair, desecrating a Van Gogh painting, throwing soup on there, and talking about climate change. Well, why isn't she inventing systems or whatever, so we can be more environmentally friendly, or financial institutes? Why are we still relying on a currency that is just inflating and it has nothing backing it but debt? Why are we still having to be like slaves basically, and go be, like, why are these highly intelligent college educated females, why are they not coming out with new systems that benefit people, instead of like trying to bring in systems like communism that has drastically failed in the past, where millions of people have died? Why are they just regurgitating garbage? Because like the average young woman is some type of Marxist. And I'm not saying all, but they've been indoctrinated, they've been programmed. But, you know, I'm not the type that's like, oh, capitalism is the greatest thing ever. There's definitely problems. Well, why can't we think of, like, why aren't women coming out and thinking of great systems that benefit people, where people don't have to be poor no more, where kids don't have to starve anymore, and it's just like, okay, we're just gonna have universal base income, or um uh like healthcare, universal base healthcare, when all you're gonna do is collapse the financial system even quicker. Like, why are we relying on um future slavery to fund our lives now, when it comes to interest off of the dollars that we make, and then or credit, credit, whether it's buying a house, buying a car, having to use credit cards. A lot of people are having to go into debt because they can't afford this inflation, so that's how they stay afloat. Um, So they're going into future servitude, or bankruptcy at some point because the system is turned to complete trash. There's no balancing the budget. It's just spend, spend, spend. Getting involved in wars that have nothing to do with us, and continuously doing this. Why are we still stuck in, like, it doesn't seem like we're progressing? Like, where's all the great um musicians? Where's all the great uh, comedians that are female? Like, you have the platforms, you have all this, you have all that. Why is stories so stagnant? Why are movies stagnant? Why are TV shows stagnant? In my opinion, is because of the people at the top don't want to change anything up because the same regurgitated crap sells. So they just continue with it. They just keep making the same shit over and over because the NPCs keep buying it. That's why you don't see innovation and too much innovation in video games. You might see a slight innovation or upgrade, but you don't see nothing drastic. Um, Women are supposed to be smarter than men. That's what I've been told my whole life. But why are we not innovating? Why are we not like progressing quicker? We're almost like being told like there's things I can't talk about on here, else I'll get deleted. But at some point, I will be able to actually talk about these things, and I will be able to call it out. But and the type of the minority, like these people are just the smallest percentage of our society that everyone else has to cater to. Well, that's not going to last. That's not something sustainable long term. They just have amplified voices because of these people like big tech or the mainstream media allow it. The our masters. Yeah. So why do we still have masters? What why are we not having more like better systems? That's what I'm saying. You know what I do see though? I do see the female body being extremely exploited sexually. I remember feminists were against this when I was growing up. They were against it. They were against capitalist type people exploiting women's sexuality for financial gain. Well, it's almost like reversed itself, and you see an oversaturation of this in everything now, and it's acceptable. It's becoming very acceptable. And like I said, there will be a backlash. It will go back to dramatic conservatism because, listen, I'm not a type of person that um, I'm a rebel, and there's nothing really special about me, but I'm kind of living a couple years ahead of most people. So like when you see these videos, me complaining, and there's people on my level too that are going through the same thing. You're going to be going through that too. I'm just going through it before you are. And just like when I go to the gym and I see all these girls, and yeah, they look good, and like their figure is amazing and they're showing it off. Why is it when I see a girl with sweatpants on, I'm kind of like more attracted? Why is that? Why is it when I'm on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and a video pops up of a girl's body showing it off? Why is it that I like um, swipe up or get rid of it real quick? Because I'm a heterosexual man. Um, I'm almost annoyed by it at this point. Um, and I'm very attracted to females. I'm very attracted to the female body. I'm very attracted to them. Trust me, I am. But it's just annoying at this point. And I think at some point, men have to be the ones that take the lead. Um, there's a certain type of organization that is being censored that I can't talk about for whatever reason. It's just completely censored. Just men living their own lives. That's all I can really say about it. And that's pretty sad. I can't, just living their lives without women. Women will stop getting validation online. That will happen first, and hopefully that's all it gets to, and women wake up, because hopefully it doesn't get to the point where men just totally abandon society in general because they realize, man, I'm doing all these dirty jobs. I'm being looked down on by these females that I'm doing these dirty jobs to, and I'm basically a servitude to them. I'm a slave, and they don't. They, they. I'm helping. I'm helping like their royalty. I'm helping prop these females' quality of life up, but I'm living a shitty life myself. Why am I doing this? Why am I continuing doing these stupid shitty jobs when I could just go living off grid somewhere in the forest? I mean, they don't like me anyway. I don't have a wife. I don't have any kids. Why am I continuously doing this at a low quality of life? And you're going to see men, hopefully, women wake up. Hopefully, it's here. Hopefully, it's here first that men stop simping, or women wake up and they realize the guys that are simping are highly low quality. And it's like, why am I continuously putting myself out there for these guys? Um, and I'm not getting hardly any type of financial gain. Um, yeah, it's gonna go back to conservative. It's gonna go very conservative in this society, and I just hopefully it doesn't go like Germany type of conservative. Like people start getting rounded up and put into camps. Even though I don't like the left, I don't like those people. Uh, I don't think that they should be rounded up and put in these extermination camps. Um, I think that like there should be reform camps where it's like people that are homeless have the ability to like reform their life, or they're on drugs, like try to straighten themselves out. Um, they shouldn't live like on the damn streets in a public place in a tent where they're blocking businesses and people trying to live normal lives, and there's a lot of crime. So these people should have a chance to better themselves, to gain skills, to get get their feet back on the ground. Nothing like forced labor camps or anything like that though. Just like to when I'm saying forced labor, it's like forced labor for somebody else's benefit, like slavery. Well, they should have to work to sustain their own existence. That's what everybody should have to work to sustain their own existence. But people shouldn't be gone to go to that type of level, and that's what I definitely fear off of this movement. Not anytime soon. I think this is a pure movement for now, but um, it could devolve into something very very sinister with new leadership in like 10, 20 years from now. And I would, and hell, the people that you know I, I was this grassroots type of organization. Well, I'm not really in any organizations, but support ends up rounding up the people that help push the movement. And you know what I mean, because they end up going back to something different from whatever this started out as, which is freedom based, constitutional based, no censorship, don't be freedom of religion, like that's what it should be, constitution. Um, So yeah, this is everywhere. That's my videos are everywhere. They talk about a lot of different things. Um, but I don't want to. I'm not the type of person that just thinks. I'm not like these other dudes that are like red pilled or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, women are the problem." Well, how you gonna ignore what men are doing that are like simping or weak father figures, immature, you know, not taking responsibility? Because for me, it's been hard. I've taken on full responsibility of raising my sons, and I, I quit things that I used to like to do. Like I used to like to smoke weed a lot. Well, I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to um, be very promiscuous. I used to drink a lot, and I quit these things because, some of those things I could hide a little bit. I can't hide that right now. I can't hide it at all. So I try to be the best example to my teens. Well, I got one that moved out, but I still have one that lives with me, and I'm trying to be the best example I can be for him. And I see the fruits of my labor. I see it. And he's very observant. He's very observant, and he's very aware. So it's like I have to watch myself. I have to watch myself. And that's, when I complain about, oh, I'm tired of responsibility, well, because I've taken on a ton of responsibility, and I really don't want to take on any more responsibility. But that's what men need to do, is they need to take on responsibility of things that they've done, either people they brought into this world, or um, projects that they started and want to the other people rely on, whether it's businesses or whatever, um, to try to do the best that they possibly can. Even no one's perfect. No one, and and some people expect perfect, but nobody's perfect. It's just take responsibility for um, things in your life, and that's what men need to do. Um, a, a lot of boys don't have that. I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have a great role model. My dad was an awesome person, so I'm not throwing him underneath the bus at all. He just lived far away, and he was doing what I'm doing, raising teens and kids, three of them though. So like what he did was even more so than me, and he got a college degree, so like in engineering. So I'm not in any way throwing my dad underneath the bus, and I'm not throwing my mom um, underneath the bus either. I care about them, and I thank them for the life they provided for me. Did I have the perfect life? No, but we all make mistakes. They did the best they could, and I appreciate them. But what I'm trying to say is, um, there is this cycle that has been passed down from generation to generation. The boomers have their own problems, and I think that they've had, you know, they pass on this type of spoiledness to the and laziness to the new generation, because they just want to do everything for them, but they're not there for them emotionally. That's what I think. But I think that when they were growing up, I don't think that their parents, the silent generation, knew anything about raising kids. They just went through a depression, so they probably were like stone cold, like emotionless. Like when you get raised in that type of environment, it's very brutal. You don't know where your food's coming from. You miss meals. You're probably cold. You have tattered clothes. And when you go from that to World War II, and then all of a sudden you go into like this economic boom, and all this is, you just like, you want to give and give and give to your kids. And I don't think that when I talk to boomers, they understand. They think that like the new generation has everything, which they do, but they don't realize what they've had. You know, when their parents were little, they had nothing. They were lucky to, to eat that day, let alone have like possessions like toys and crap like that. They had nothing, and to have like um bicycles or stuff like that. And yeah, they didn't have video games. They like to talk a lot about video games that we have, but it's just, man, this is a lot. There's a lot of stuff in here, but I think that the boomers, because there's a lot of hate on the boomers, which I put hate on them too, and they deserve responsibility. Um, but they weren't. There's a reason why they are the way that they are, because they were spoiled too. And I made it in one of my songs. I forgot which one it was. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. And we're in that uh, weak men create hard times. We're in that transition right now. And we've been in that transition. So I'm optimistic about the future for the people who survive what's happening. And what I want to say too is all this stuff that's happening right now, all this conditioning, all this programming that's happening, whether it's feminism or this communism type of deal, and whatever these elites, these new world order elites think they're going to have this power in the future, there will be a backlash. There will be people who wake up, because there will be a group of people, and they'll just have to, like, they're not going to be able to get rid of them all, like me. There will be a pushback. They're not going to be able to control, unless like they totally, everyone gets that brain chip or whatever, which I will get it. Like I said before, if I can't think for myself no more and I have to rely on other people, I don't care. I'll be old anyway. But so I won't be able to fight back much, so it won't even matter. But there will be a pushback. Whatever utopia society that they're thinking about, it's not gonna work. And I like that there is people waking up. It just comes to people waking up and realizing that we're being fed a bunch of bullshit. And this is all pretty much an experiment to see all the stuff that they're pushing onto us. They want to see what we'll do. They want us. It's all fear based. They want us scared. This constant 2020, the pandemic, lockdowns and pandemic, and then 2021, if you don't get that thing, then you get fired or you lose your job, that pressure. And, and now it's the nuclear war, and there'll be other things that they try to come out with. One last thing, I don't know if I talked about this yesterday. I was thinking about this, and the Democrats are in a corner where there's a lot of MAGA that's getting in Congress, and they're going to want a lot of investigations on these people, and they deserve to be investigated. Well, they're going to, in order to stop these investigations, they're going to have to stay in power. So, and I think there's going to be a big push to get these people out who are currently in power, who are on the left. But I think the cheating that they're going to do is just going to be out in the open, because they don't have the mail-in ballots and all that bullshit now. And they're going to take major losses, and they know this. And they know that they have to keep power. If they cheat and it's another blue wave, which this is how it's gone in the midterms. It's always been the opposite party that gets power of things. If they have another blue wave like they shouldn't have had last election, it's going to be out there for everyone to see this corruption. I think. Maybe nothing will happen, though. Maybe nothing will happen. So we'll see, I guess.